welcome. As always, this episode of the VanNote Show podcast is featured and sponsored, and I'm just free advertising for Lucky 7 Liquor in Owensville. You already know what it is. And where that is that's on the highway. That's out towards Fort Branch, and that's really good. And today I was just there, and I'd gotten a six-pack for a very good price. And that was Pabst Blue Ribbon that I chose today. Of course, you can see our lovely sponsorship sign here. So anytime you need anything, any party supply, I know it's fall time and then bonfires and stuff are going to be popping. So anybody needing them kegs, holler at your boy and your girl, Jeremiah and Courtney Hale at 812-724-2881. And we're going to get into this one a little bit. I know you notice a few things on the back of the wall here behind me, and that's my new sign that I got, and I picked that out, and it says, Indiana, and that's my state. And I like that a lot. And so I got that one because I saw it somewhere and it was cool. I actually got it from my work. And then I got this other sign that it's sitting on, and I really like it. And it says, do less with more focus. I think that's what we all need to be doing, is a lot less with a lot more focus. Because let's just face it, I think we're all really, really busy. At least I know I am. Like, I feel like I'm really busy and I get really overwhelmed about stuff sometimes. And anybody who knows me knows that's true, because I'm always like I'm running around like a chicken with his head cut off. And sometimes that's just how I feel, because, I don't know. I just feel like I want to do so much. I'm just always wanting to do something all the time. I don't ever like really sitting around and laying around. Like, I can do that sometimes, But I like to be doing something, because there's just daylight left, and you're just supposed to be doing something when you're awake. And laying around and stuff, that's for when you're sleeping or for when you're sick. And so I just like to stay active. I've always been that way. And it can be interfering, because I got so much going on and I want to do everything with everybody all the time, but that's really hard. And that's kind of like me trying to please everybody at once. But I don't let it eat me alive, so it's not exactly that. But I guess there's an aspect of that there. But anyways, but doing less with more focus. I mean, I think that means that if you just focus in a little bit on a few things that you're doing, that you want to do, determine the things that you want to do, like a few of them, instead of trying to do 7 things at once, like your boy. And you do those with more focus, and I think those will come with better outcome. And I don't know, I just really like that one. I really like that one, and I like the way it looks, and I like the way it's stained, and I got it for a good price. But yeah, so I just trying to keep that in mind since I read that, and I've always been trying to think maybe I do too much. Maybe I do try to do too much. Maybe a lot of you do too. But I get excited about stuff, and I like doing stuff. I like doing a lot of stuff. I like working on homes and stuff, and I like working outside in the yard. And if I have an excuse at all to be outside, I'm gonna be outside. Just because that's where I like to be. I like to be in nature, I'm going to be cutting grass, I'm going to be weed eating and stuff like that, because that's what I like to do. I like to stay busy, and I like to do stuff. I think it all comes from because I like to do stuff it gives you a sense of accomplishment. I feel like I've done something, You can look back and be like, man, I just mowed that grass and spent all that time doing all that stuff, and look how good it looks, People's going to come over, and they're going to feel like, they're in a clean place. And I like that a lot. Maybe a place that, they can also feel like they're very welcome and they're going to be loved, because that's just what you want. You want a nice, welcoming, loving place. I do anyway. Because why wouldn't you want your guests to feel appreciated and stuff? You just want to look out for people that come over and stuff. But, yeah. And I like having my friends over, too. That's something I like doing. I like being around my friends a lot. I think we all do a little bit. Sometimes you get around too much and they're annoying as fuck. But that's just like with anybody, I think, in your life. You get around anybody too much, they get annoying. You get tired of motherfuckers. And sometimes I get tired of people real quick, and the other days, I just don't. And I can just never get tired of somebody. But that's just depending on my mood, I guess. And I try to stay as happy as I can, A lot of things affect that. I got a lot of good stuff going on right now. I'm really excited about a lot. So I really ain't got a lot of reasons to be sad. Other than just a few small things. But I kind of wish I could talk to my dad. No, I never had my dad really in my life, and I wish I could talk to him. But maybe that's something I wanted to talk about, was fatherlessness. Yeah, because I don't know how many of you out there that listen to this bullshit ranty thing that I do grew up without a dad, or grew up without, maybe even a mom in your household. But for me, it was my father. And he wasn't ever there, like, at all, ever. I never really knew him except for a few visits and things like that. And so I grew up with going through a lot of different emotions about that, and going through a lot of different bad feelings about hate and resentment and things like that. I was just harboring all this stuff. And then I got to a teenager and I started thinking, well, fuck him, right? Like, he don't want to be here. Fuck him, his loss, the whole deal. And then I got a little bit older and I started being like, oh, you just forgive people and give people second chances and stuff. And that's what I want to do, It's like, so then I tried to do that, and then, he just abandons me again. And so I got a lot that I deal with as far as, like, I'm just a sensitive dude. My emotions are right there. And I, being there for, my kids is important because, and then them having a dad and knowing what having a dad's about, getting roughed up and running around and doing dad things like that. But as far as, like, just feeling alone and stuff, like, I feel alone a lot. Just because, like, I never had that second parent that you could go holler at. I've always had a brother and friends and everything, but, where the fuck is my dad is what I was always wondering. And there was a lot of times where I was that kid that was sitting there waiting for a dad that never came. And being told he was coming and then just never show up. My mom got tired of seeing that, so she stopped telling me and stuff when he would call because she just knew he wasn't coming through. And that sucks for him, I just don't understand how people could be that way. So I've grown up with the complex. It's like, I gotta be the best dad that I can be. I gotta be the best person that I can be. I gotta be as good as I can be because I know what it's like to, like, have that put on you, where, like, you just feel them bad emotions, like you just feel worthless or whatever because you feel like a parent didn't love you enough. And I know my mom gave double the love or whatever because she had to, and that's just what you do. And she did an outstanding job, But still doesn't change the fact, I miss my dad in my life, and I'll never have him in my life, He's not dead or anything, but, basically it's like he might as well be. And it's as bad as that is to say, that's just the damn truth. And, I got some brothers and sisters out there, and I think they understand a little bit too. It just sucks, man, when you ain't got somebody there like that. I couldn't even call him. Or whatever. So I push that on my kids real hard, like, if you ever just need to talk to me and I'm not ever there, you just call me or whatever. You just do whatever you got to do. I'll do whatever I got to do, So, and it's just because, I didn't have that. And fatherlessness, I think it's something a lot of us go through. It's like a damn epidemic for kids my age. Now I'm 29, So, yeah, I don't know. But, props to Mom for doing extra, because she did. 2 jobs, night college, all the shit she could do, and this was early 2000s, late 90s. And it wasn't easy. And I knew Mom was struggling because I could see it. But we still did good or whatever. But nonetheless, like, I feel like my father was responsible for a lot of that, because if he could have just stayed there or whatever, then we could have had a whole other life. Maybe we could have had a whole different kind of life where, it was kind of like normal or whatever, where you have like a dad and a mom and stuff. Because I've always had to explain, to everybody, like the stepdad situation. Well, they ain't married, so it's not really, but it's just and it's just a mouthful of shit. And it's just like, you just want to always be able to, I just always wanted to be able to be like, my mom and dad or whatever. So, but yeah, I don't speak to that man, and he don't speak to me, and I'll never do that to my kids, ever. There's nothing that's ever going to make me that I could run away and abandon somebody like that. They're children. They need guidance. They're growing into adults. You can't just leave people. So I hope that's something that y'all can take away a little bit, and I hope that maybe, sorry to get a little sad on you guys or whatever. I got a little sad there, but it's just, it's just a touchy subject. Like I said, I'm an emotional dude, and that stuff bothers me. You gotta be there. You gotta hug your kids. You gotta love your kids. You gotta be there for them as much as you can. If you can't be there every day or whatever, you gotta be there at every opportunity that you get when they arise. So, And that's just what I keep in mind or whatever. And, they got top priority over everybody and everything. So, and I think that's how a lot of parents look at their kids. But I know there's some out there that don't, and there's some shitty parents. And that just makes me sad because, I guess I was one of those, like, I know I was loved or whatever, but it's just like sometimes you just don't feel like it. Sometimes you just don't feel like it. Sometimes, I just felt like I knew I was loved and all that, but it's like I was always just missing like one person telling me that they loved me or whatever. And I think that was Dad. So, it's, excuse me, I'm doing fine, with my life and everything as far as having a good life structure and all that. It's not, so I figured out how to lead myself, with a little bit of guidance from my, a little bit of family and friends and stuff. But yeah, I would hate for my kids to hate me or whatever, or dislike me or not care for me, so that would tear me apart, and I don't see how people do it. So if you're a piece of shit father to your kids, you can stop watching the show because I don't want you to. Go love your kids. But anyways, onward from that, the podcast, last one I did, it's like 130 views right now or something. Just thank you guys so much. That's amazing. Zach Collins, if you're watching, I know you're probably excited. I probably won't get into too much that we talked about on here today, but I know you're excited about it, man. And we'll get us a project going. We'll do something. We'll figure something out. Like I said, dude, I'm busy. I got a lot going on. So, and I think everybody understands that, because everybody's cool, and everybody's understanding people. Instead of just being so judgmental all the time, maybe you can just be a little bit more understanding. And I think it's hard sometimes because you sometimes just want to be like, this is how I feel or whatever. Like, God damn it, But if you know that's about to happen, you just step back and you don't like roll your eyes in a mean way or nothing. You just kind of step back and be like, all right, and you change your view on things a little bit. And I think if people was a little more understanding, I think everybody felt like maybe a little better about everything they get into. So what else happens? Going to a wedding on Sunday. That's fun. I ain't been to a wedding in a while. My van window broke. I got to get a van window regulator put in because, I've been catching them raindrops on my ear and my face these past couple of days, and I don't like that too much. And it finally dropped down in weather. It was 100 degrees, and then it went down to 60 for the high, which is cute for, Gibson County. That's just southern Indiana's climate, though. That's how they do around here. And I was telling somebody that basically I feel like, and it's just how I feel like there's not going to be any fall anymore eventually. Like in 10 years, like I don't even know. In 10 years, my kids are going to be like, what is fall? I'll be like, well, that was a magical time where everything was pretty for like a month and a half, and we had great temperatures, and we had bonfires, and we had friends, and we did, extracurriculars. But my kids won't understand that because basically, when they get to be a little older or whatever, maybe they will as kids because I said 10 years. But like when they get a little older, like maybe even like their kids ain't going to be able to understand it all, It's just going to be straight harsh winter right into a really harsh summer, right into a really harsh winter. And I just think that's the cycle that is going down. And yeah, I just think that, and I don't know what you want to attribute that to, that's global warming, and all that shit. And that's the government working with the air and fucking with our weather and manipulating things in the ways that they are. And, let's just not act like we don't know that's going on, guys. Come on, HAARP's a real deal. They're doing something, they're actively manipulating the weather. And I don't know if you can attribute that to these hurricanes. A lot of people would say it keeps FEMA busy, keeps Red Cross's money coming. But, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think anybody actually knows. Q knows. Q knows all. Where we go one, we go all. You guys know. But basically, it's like with the rest of it's hard to know for sure, because everything's given to us. Every little piece of information we get's been given to us. You know, we can go look it up ourselves, but everything's been given to us. So how do you trust any of it? How do how do you say that that's okay? How do you know? The government's ran by corporations and stuff in America. And, all the stuff with the way that the education system's set up and the way that everything's rigged down and the way they're educating students now, and the whole game is different, basically, since when I was in school, 10, 12, 15 years ago. And, yeah, it's just crazy. There's a lot going on behind the curtains, and things are not as they seem, like I had once thought when I was a young man. And a lot of shit's really scary, and a lot of shit's really, it'd make you rethink your belief system, because you realize, like, your whole life you've been lied to. All the history and everything you've been taught in school, none of that shit's true. There might be a splash of truth in a couple lines of each subject, but mainly, I mean, like, there's so many examples. Columbus was a vicious murderer. I mean, so, and all this stuff, and they paint a lot of people to be really good that were actually really bad people. And, we don't even know, like, if that's even George Washington, like the pictures we have, like, there's no, like, video or nothing of him. There's nothing like that. It's just, like, paintings and stuff. We don't even know if that's him. Some people say that's one of the, I forget which one, but it's, I believe it's a Rothschild on the head. It's a face of him. And we were just told that that's George. But I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to think about. Makes you wonder. People on the Titanic were some of the highest financiers of the last of the previous 10 years before it crashed. And when it wrecked and went down, those people died. And those people who died were very influential with all the money they had. And they were voting against the Federal Reserve for years prior, like 2 or 3 years prior. They were voting against it. Knew it was a bad deal, knew it was a bad thing, didn't want the American people to be enslaved under debt. The chains are there. They're just not physical. And so, the captain of the Titanic was like a level 33 or something like that Mason, a 33rd degree Mason, which is of the highest level, I believe. Or he was almost up there. Nonetheless, it's very easy to say that man could have taken an order of sacrifice, which is something they do up at those high levels. And he could have sank that ship on purpose, and resulting in the death of all those people. And they knew if they could have brought the ship down way out in the middle of nowhere, there would have been no rescue, and the whole thing could have been plotted easily to be that. And then what happened? That was in April. And then in like January, I think, of the following year, the Federal Reserve Act was signed in. And Woodrow Wilson got on, is quoted after years of it being in effect, saying that something to the effect that he failed the American people, and that the Federal Reserve was, I can't even remember the exact quote, but basically he was saying how he regretted being the one to sign that in. So, I mean, that just tells you a lot. Like, his shit seems like a big setup, and a lot of it is. And there's families that get rich off the wars from both sides, loaning countries money to fight the wars and stuff, and they're just profiting off both. So there's people out there that are profiting off of war and people dying and shit, and that shit's fucked up. How they justify it, defies me. I mean, it's hard to justify the killing of people, and with the whole thing with the Operation Northwoods basically being enacted in September of 2001 instead of back in 62 or 63, whenever Kennedy actually vetoed it, and what happened to him. Yeah, and he didn't want the Federal Reserve either. And neither did Lincoln. He had the greenbacks, don't we remember? Yeah, so some of that shit in school, they tell you, the greenback, but they wouldn't let him. There's a lot more nefariousness going on besides, he just didn't get his way with his money, and the U.S. dollar was brought in instead of the greenbacks. I forget what bullshit small paragraph they gave me as an excuse in the history books as to why they didn't, use that or whatever, the greenbacks. And it's just basically because there's large, powerful families and billions and billions of dollars. Back in that time was even more, and it's insane. It's insane, the amounts of power and stuff. And when you have people that try to speak out against that stuff, they get murdered. And that shit's been happening forever. Forever. And it's still happening. It's still happening. So don't think it ain't. Don't think there ain't crazy shit going on, you know. But I do believe, you know, there's a good people in the world, and that's just what I try to be, because I know there's so many of them evil people out there. It's like I just try to be a good dude because I just want to make people, you know, happy and stuff in all this damn darkness. You know, I just think we need to smile a little more, because positivity is powerful and peace is easy. And all this stuff that they're spitting, all this damn division, hate between race and between fucking fat and skinny and black and white and fucking up and down and male and female and all this damn, it's bullshit. It's all meant to divide. And if people got to understand, they got to stick together in times like this. And don't start judging your brother next to you, you know? Don't just look at somebody and just start casting fucking hate just because you think they voted one fucking way, or even if you know they did. You know, how about we just kind of forget about that fucking shit and come together as a you know, a species of human? How about we try that and we get a little bit nicer, and we just be nice to one another? And I think that's if we do that, we'll just everybody put out enough positive energy every day to each other. You know, and it might be a small text message. It might be a short phone call to just say, hey, you know, keep your head up today. I know times are hard. You know, getting through every day ain't easy. We know that. And so you should be good to yourself, and you should treat yourself, and you should treat others. Because when you treat others, and that could be with helping them with a bill, or that could be like fixing their car, that could be giving them a ride somewhere, or that could be doing stuff like that. You know, it could be like any little thing you like to do, like that or whatever. But if you just put that out there, you know, someone else is going to put it back out there for somebody else, and I think we can all just smile a little more. You know, damn, everybody seems so sad. Everybody seems so mad, too. Everybody seems so angry. And I ain't free from it. I ain't free from it. I get angry, too. I get sad, too. But I think maybe that's just because I ain't got enough positive energy coming towards me. And I think if everybody, you know, and I've been doing it, I've been surrounding myself with a lot more happy and positive people, and then they do me a lot of good, and that is where I get my happiness from. But at the same time, you know, still live in a world that's full of people that don't think like me and think the other way and would rather just be negative instead of positive about a subject or all subjects. So I don't know, you know, I just try to incite that peace, man. Try to incite that happiness. Let's get back together where, you know, I feel like when I was like a young teenager, when I was like 13 and stuff and 14, like I just didn't feel like everything was so divided. And now I just walk into a damn gas station and I just feel so divided from everybody. I just feel like everybody's like, you know, like, look at this dude and instant judging people, and look at her, you know, what's that, why is the haircut that way, or the hair color that way, or whatever. Like, it just, who gives a fuck what people want to do? Everybody's supposed to be doing what they want to do. If you ain't doing what you want to do, then you ain't living, you ain't happy. You gotta be doing what you want to do before you can do anything for anybody else. And that's not a selfish way. You don't do it in a damn selfish way. Don't be an idiot. But just stay happy, man. That's all you gotta do is stay happy. Try your best to stay happy in the worst of situations, you know, and push that positivity a little bit. And you can be crazy with it or whatever, but you know, you treat others and treat yourself, and don't forget that you need love too, you know. And I think a lot of times we forget that, and a lot of people push ourselves out there a lot too much for other people. So there's a fine line to find. Man, finding that balance, I think, is where you can achieve like your top peak happiness or whatever. So, but yeah, that's where I'm trying to stay is on that line of giving to myself and treating myself and also treating others, and try not to forget about anybody either, because you know, when you get a lot of people that want to hang out or whatever, like you know, and you try to make a lot of plans with a lot of people, like you might lose somebody in that. And so I try to remember everybody, and I love everybody the same, and that's just the damn truth. And I think a lot of you guys are really nice, sweet people too, you know. And so that's what I want out of my following, is just a bunch of really damn nice people, and people who have good shit to say. And you can come on and tell me about your good shit or your bad shit. I don't care. We can talk about anything. But I want to get more people on here. I want to get a more more active following or whatever. I'm thinking about busting out on some other social media sites or whatever and just trying to push everything a little harder and all that stuff. I don't know. It's a lot to keep up with, and I like to do things other than stare at my phone all the time. Unless I'm watching YouTube, of course. I'm fucking spoiled on YouTube. I'm gonna cut this off, guys. I just wanted to jump in here and get something off my chest, I guess, with the whole fatherlessness thing. And maybe I make you guys think about something a little bit today that you can take away that's a little bit positive, as far as all that goes, but yeah, I love it. Buy your beer from Lucky 7 Liquor in Owensville, 812-724-2881, on the way out of town going to Fort Branch. And don't forget, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's October. Be safe out there. And so, do less with more focus too, people. Don't forget that either. And love your mom and hug your kids and stuff like that. And everybody, be good to yourself. Thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for the subscribers. Thank you for the likes and all that. I'm seeing it grow little by little, and I'm loving it. It's making me happy, making me feel like I'm doing something worth doing. And like I said, if anybody wants to come on, I don't care. I don't care who you are. Come on, just hit me up. Just hit me up. Message me on Facebook. Comment on the YouTube. I'll see it. I'll get notified immediately. Just holler. Come on, let's talk about it, as they say these days. I'll see you guys. Thank you.